Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Transplant Strong Podcast. Today I'm joined by Alice. Alice is based in France. She's part French, part English. So, hi Alice, how are you?
Hello, I'm so happy to see you.
Yes, very nice. We met at the World Transplant Games, didn't we?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Interested.
yeah, it's very interesting. So, tell us, what transplant have you had, Alice, and what led you to having a transplant?
I was born with something called biliary atresia.
Yeah.
And so it means that between the liver and the stomach, you have some little like tube, and it basically didn't exist. So it was really dangerous for me. So basically, like all the bile goes into like the liver and like stays in the liver or like goes spreads in the body. And so that was really dangerous, but they only saw that I had like this problem at like 3 months old, if I'm right. And so that was like super dangerous. And so I got my transplant at 1.5, when I was 1.5.
So young. I think
Yeah,
you're the youngest person that I've had on, to be honest,
really.
that's had a transplant in at that early age of their life. Most people that I've had on are sort of got to their later stages and then it's sneaked up on them for
Yeah.
some reason.
That's weird to me. Like it's not just like as babies for me. Like, yeah, because it's quite rare when you think about it.
Yeah, it's very rare. And so, I mean, it's been all you've ever known really to live with a liver transplant. So,
Mhm.
um, you had your transplant young. Has there been any issues or has it been pretty stable
Um,
for you?
No, honestly, it's been really stable. And I think also, like, it's also a blessing that's the liver, because I know that it's much more complicated for other like organs.
Mm.
But overall, like, I know I've gotten some like things here and there, um like some like little diseases sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay because I don't know, like it's much easier, I feel like, as a baby, because you're so like followed and all that. You No, it's okay. Honestly, it's okay.
Yeah, that's good. And having it so young, have you found that like how's that been with school and everything like that? I mean, do you sort of kids understand when you were that young, or like not obviously at one, but as you were going through school, did you
Yeah.
tell kids about it? Were you
Um,
quite open, or was it something that
yeah,
you just
I was always open about it. I wasn't scared to talk about it, but no one was really interested anyways. But
yeah.
if you start saying stuff, um, I know that, for example, because of the bile, my teeth were a bit orange, and they stayed orange for a bit, like my baby teeth were orange.
Mm.
And so some kids, I remember having like some kids saying like, "Oh, do you drink alcohol?" Like, I don't know, like weird little things like that. They did like it did hurt me at the time, because I just didn't understand why would you be mean about something like that.
Yeah.
And so you can clearly see like there's a maturity gap between like me and other kids, like especially like in like when you're really small. And then I got some, oh yeah, once I had a friend of mine, her dad told my parents, "Oh, she's never gonna have a husband because of her like her scar. Like, oh, look at this. Like, it's impossible. Like, what is this? It's disgusting." And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So weird. Like, as a parent, to say that to a child.
Yeah.
That was really, really strange. But otherwise, I do also sometimes, when people ask me like, so where does your liver come from? And I remember like being in the sports, I don't know, I was in like a sports station, and then like I think they saw my scar, and so I was like just bringing along the story, and I was like, well, the person is dead, and he was like, no, she was like, okay, and she just never talked to me again. It was
Really.
like a big, yeah, like I dropped some stones on her. I don't know. But she, no, she was not really comfortable. So yeah, a lot of different outcomes, I guess.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody who is a living donor, kidney donor, and we were talking about sort of education and how sort of the more you talk about liver transplants, especially at a young age, or just transplants in general, the more it gets made normal as such, so that when it does come around in a school situation or for a younger situation, like the kids are more understanding. Because it's definitely
Yeah.
not something you come across much as a child, really, is it?
I just what I liked was like the attention you could have from adults because they were all like, "Oh my God, this and this, and oh my God, this happened." So like, yeah, this is
Yeah.
me. And I always had like extra attention from like even like the teachers and stuff. Like, oh my God, she's like, have to be careful with Alice.
Yeah,
Alice,
yeah,
this is Alice. This is this is the one with the transplant. So that was kind of funny. But I feel like as you grow up, you get sick of that, of the
yeah,
extra attention. You're like, no, I'm fine. Like I'm literally like anyone else.
yeah. So you went through school, and yeah, I know obviously we met at the Transplant Games, and I could see that there, like, you knew so many people, you've been going for a long, long time. So do you remember when you first started going, and was it your parents that sort of said,
Yeah.
let's take you along, or was it something that you said, I want to go to?
So what happened is that I was 9 and we went to see this exhibit in our hospital, and it was like a bunch of associations and they were just talking about them, and my dad saw the whole like sport thing, and then like I have a very very sporty mum, and so obviously like he sent it to my mum and she was like, oh my God, we're going, this is amazing. And so then I started, I think the first games were actually in France. There was like a ski one. I don't know if it was like, no, it's not nationals. It had to be world games, but the ski games,
The
like
winter
winter games.
ones, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that was just amazing because the very first time I remember like just being just baffled by like how many people there were,
yeah.
and just like the overall ambiance of just like it was just so great. And then the second games I went to were in Argentina.
Oh,
So that was
wow.
like another level. And
Yeah,
so I remember I feel like I only kind of remember the whole traveling because it was like traveling this far was like such a big deal for me.
yeah,
But it was like it was amazing.
yeah. It's so hard to describe to people how
Yeah.
good the games is, like the atmosphere there. I mean, myself, like I was terrible at all the sports, but I still had an absolutely fantastic time.
Yeah, it's not even about the sports when you think about it. It's just in general, it's the whole atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful.
Yeah, and it's super inspiring seeing the youngers and then like the older generation as well,
Mm.
still
Yeah,
competing at sort of 60,
yeah.
70 years old, which is fantastic.
Especially in the Great Britain team, you have really like you have older
Yeah,
players.
yeah, yeah. So going through your life, you've obviously met a lot of different transplant patients as well and made loads of good friends and connections, which is great. But there's the sad side to it of because you've been in this community for so long, there must have been people that you maybe have met and that have got ill over times and either needed a second transplant or maybe not made it. And like, how does that affect your psyche?
That's an interesting question. I've never actually thought about that, but I do remember I had this one, actually no, even two friends that like passed away and that were in the games. I feel like as I was like 12, I didn't think about it too much. I think I was a bit in denial.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember just being like, no, I'm sure it's gonna be fine when like we knew like that the person actually passed. I was like, no, I'm sure it's fine. So I feel it didn't really affect me, but I do think about them. And yeah, I've never actually thought about that. It's
yeah.
interesting.
It's
Um,
It's a tough question,
yeah,
and I know even I've been a transplant patient for like 4 years, and I've made so many connections. And then when you do see someone get ill, and go through the second transplant and stuff, like you just feel worried for them for a start, and then it's like
yeah,
a reality check for yourself, like
absolutely.
something could go wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's also I don't see it that way, but then if you have reality checks when you're already small, you like really understand so much more than like normal adults, I feel like.
Yeah,
And so yeah, no, I get what you mean. It
yeah,
is a bit it is tricky to think about as a child because you don't really understand, but you do know that you're very, very lucky.
Yeah,
And so I think there's this bar of like who's the luckiest kind of thing. It gets a bit messed up sometimes because you like stop thinking that you had the like a bit that it was a big of a deal for you,
yeah,
and you're like, oh no, I think it was better for like it was better for me. I had a better experience, so I shouldn't even say anything. I'm not even a part of this because there's like so much worse than you. But that's just like in everything in life.
yeah, yeah. And
Mhm.
having it so young, do you in France as well get the opportunity to speak or reach out to the organ donors or their family?
Well,
Obviously, if it's deceased, obviously you can't reach out to the actual donor, but to the family.
yeah, so I know that my mum wrote a letter because you have the possibility to write a letter and leave it at the hospital and
Yeah,
the family can come, but we don't know if they reached back. I don't think they even reached back.
yeah.
But yeah,
I had the same situation here as we send the letter to the hospital and then if the
yes.
family want that it gets sent on to them.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
get an answer?
I didn't get an answer, but I did get told recently from somebody, they said write another letter because they said there's a high chance that your letter got put in an office somewhere and it actually never got sent on because sometimes these things happen, especially in hospitals where they're, you know, busy, busy, busy and they got paper coming in and then all of a sudden your letter's at the bottom and so yeah, I might write another one, but it's I don't want to like
It's a lot.
keep sending them letters and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think it's crazy how Americans can just like go and visit the person and like
Yeah.
it just blows my mind.
Yeah, the someone I met that had a living donor, they actually met up with their donor beforehand as well. Like in England, that's not the case, from what I've understand. But in America, they kind of met up and like he said it was kind of like going on a date to see if they matched and see if like she wanted to give the liver and he wanted to take her liver. So it was quite funny.
Yeah. I think at the games I even saw there was a woman like that I was asking, oh, like, are you guys, I don't know, siblings? Like, no, she's my donor. We just met. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah,
Oh, like, it's really, really cute, especially if it goes well. Cause yeah,
yeah. Do
as a
you
whole.
like I say, you're very involved in the transplant community, especially at the games. But how was your life out of the games? Like, do you have any transplant friends in France, or is it?
Well, so I've been really active in like the transplant community, like the French Association. I've done so many things with them. I went to like I did little boat trips for like little weeks. I did that like 3 times. And so from that, I do have some friends that are my age, but I don't really talk to them much. I actually know a guy that is my age and is writing a book about his experience. So that's pretty sweet. But overall, I don't really have many. I wouldn't say I have many like transplant friends.
Yeah,
It's just like people from the games that I sometimes see outside, but it's quite rare.
yeah, yeah. And what was the boat trips then? Was that like you and other transplant patients?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So there's even like a video on YouTube of the whole experience, and like it's really funny because you see your little face like that, and
Yeah,
but yeah. So we went to like the Brittany Islands, and it was on this really big, like beautiful boat called the Bora Bora, like a wooden thing. It was like really impressive, and we were there for like a week
yeah,
um, and just visiting around and people were just saying hi because we have a huge boat and
yeah,
it's just lovely because like it's just for so it's with another association and it's just made for us to like learn about boat things and just see something else than the hospital and like have a really really cool like it's an adventure.
yeah. It sounds it. It's good to get out and do stuff, especially if you are. I mean, I was talking to someone and saying when you have an illness, a chronic illness, or like a transplant, your whole life sort of at one point is revolved around that. You've got hospital appointments, you've got,
Yeah,
and it's
but
literally like,
honestly I was like really fortunate to not have like as much as a bad experience with that. Like I used to go to the hospital like every 3 months for an appointment, but like outside of that, I've never really had any problems.
Yeah.
So I feel like more fortunate than
Yeah.
maybe other patients, especially like which like went on the boat with me or something like that. But no, I'm just very lucky to like have all that.
Yeah. And what medication have you been on? Have you been on the same meds all your life, pretty much?
I mean, there's always the Advograph thing
Yeah.
that's just followed me. I mean, before it was Prograph, but now it's like a 1 day thing. But I know that when I was little, I had like at least 15, way more than that, I'm sure. But I'm like, I don't really remember any of it really.
Yeah.
It just, and for me, it's really normal. But I think it's really funny how when I say, well, I'm gonna wake up to anyone, I'm gonna wake up at 7 for my meds, and everyone's like, what, Alice? Are you thinking? And I'm like, yeah, that's just normal. Like, I don't know. So I'm a very early bird. Like, you can wake me up at any time. I'm good. But it's just like it's funny how people don't think about that. Like, I don't know, not think about that, but don't like for them, it's just not normal.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. For me, it's very natural.
Yeah,
Uh,
there is a different normal for chronic ill people and transplant patients. Very different. Like you say, medication just becomes so just day to day.
mhm.
And I remember when I first started having to take meds every day, and it was a bit like, oh, this is a bit rubbish. Like I don't want to do this.
Mhm.
But then I think someone just said to me, it's like some people just take vitamins every single day. Like it's not a big chore to take tablets. And I was like, yeah, in the scale of things,
And
there's a lot.
it's also fun because I know like there were so many campaigns for like me as a child be like when you're gonna turn into a teen, you're not gonna want to get your meds, you're not gonna want to wake up. And I was like, no, I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
and it was so like there was so many like campaigns, like so many people like talking to me about that. I was like, I'm fine. What like I want to live. Why would I
Yeah.
not take meds? I don't understand the whole process. It doesn't click for me.
Yeah.
But apparently it happened. It happens a lot, and
I
like
think
they
as
get
you
really
as you get into a teenage years, some you do get
sick.
like a rebellious maybe, and it's like a kicking out sort of thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's amazing that we can just take this tablet and it keeps us going, really.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy.
Yeah. So, are you doing the next Transplant Games in France next year?
Then Belgium
Do you not have
nationals.
nationals?
Yes, but there was I don't I think nationals are a bit boring
Oh, really?
because
Yeah.
I don't have that many friends in like the French community of transplant
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
so it's not as fun. And I just love the international side of it,
Yeah, I
and I
was
learn much more.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, I went out with a friend who's a transplant patient in Hartford yesterday, and I was saying, she said, "What's the difference between the UK and the Worlds?" And I was like, "The UK is great, but if you're all in a city, you don't know who's competing and who's not because everyone's just walking around in their normal clothes. Whereas the World Games, you know everyone who's competing because everyone's in their kits. So
Yeah,
like, you could be at a tram stop and you can just talk to some random
exactly.
person who's got
That's the
their Australian kit
best
on, or
thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like it's just like the community feeling. And I think like in French culture, like communities are not a thing. And I really like I discovered that through the games of like, whoa, there's a transplant community. Like I could have like another kind of family. And
Yeah.
like that feeling that you just mentioned of like walking around and then there's someone else in like the transplant thing, or even just like a little cap, or just even like little thing on their bag, and like, oh my God, you are my team.
Yeah.
It just feels really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an incredible experience, the Worlds. It was and I definitely you said to me afterwards, you said give it a week or two and you'll have the blues. And I was like, no, I'm buzzing, I'll be fine. And then I definitely got the blues. Like it's
Horrible, isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, it's a big come down. Like just the
Mhm.
whole atmosphere, even doing the stadium walk at the beginning and then at the end. Yeah, yeah. Super emotional.
Um,
So, have you got any advice to anyone that would be maybe about to have a transplant?
hmm. I kind of feel like I'm able to only speak to parents with like a young child that's about to have a transplant,
Yeah,
because I don't think I could give any advice to like transplant who have their mind awake that is awake. But what I mean is like um I feel like I want to tell parents like it's gonna be okay. Like I'm fine. Like
yeah,
like for me, I was lucky enough to have like a good experience, and I'm okay. There is going to be a lot of like trauma work for sure, but at the end of the day, like I'm very grateful for everything that went through, even as hard as it was, as it been, as it I
it
don't know.
is.
And yeah, like to trust what's happening, and like it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. You mentioned a lot of trauma work there. Is that something that you've worked on? Would you offered like any kind of counseling or therapy growing up?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially as it's like memories that are like really from a long time, and like kind of they're hidden in
Mm,
you.
yeah,
It can come up when you like have another blood test, and even though it's like really familiar for you to have blood tests, I know that I was so scared as a child, and I maybe didn't have enough like I don't know, like you said, like counseling or something, because
yeah,
I think it could have been a little smoother if you like, for example, I'm following this really cool associate. I don't know if it's an association or like just a place, and they on Instagram, and they do like miniature like medical equipment to explain to children what's going to happen to them, and with like tiny little like IVs, tiny little
yeah,
things, and it's just so sweet. And I'm like, oh, this is something I know that I would have liked.
yeah,
uh just I feel like right like now in like 2025 we're really into like children's emotions and how we can speak to them better, and like the whole like gentle parenting, and I feel like that is like something maybe that could have been nice at my like when I was going through all of that, because when you're in the like getting a blood test and you're like strapped, or like you have at least 10 people like holding on to you so you don't
yeah,
move, there's things that happen in the brain, I think, that just as a tiny child you're like, what is happening?
yeah, definitely.
There's just so many things, and then when you're back and you have a scanner, like no, a scan or
Yeah,
that kind of thing, scanners, I don't like, because I know like my brain remembers what happened, and so I feel like I do want to like at one point go to therapy about that, or yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I had counselling afterwards to talk about my transplant and just other stuff that was happening in my life. But it's definitely something I would encourage to everyone really is to talk about it. I mean, me being a man, like you just think you can take everything on yourself anyway, and you're like, I'm fine. But it gets to a point where you do need to talk to someone because as I don't know, as much as we think we can take everything on, having a transplant is such a huge deal. And
Yeah,
like you said, it continues throughout your whole life. Like once you're a transplant patient, you're always a transplant patient. So
yeah.
um, I
And
think
you get
that's
triggered by things. For example, I know that I get triggered by little sounds. Like I know that, for example, last time I went to McDonald's and you have like the beep,
yeah,
beep, beep or something, you're like, I know I have to like calm myself down. I'm like, Alice, no one is in danger, no one is dying, you're
yeah,
fine. Like it's just it's like little things that just like trigger you in the wild, I want to
in the
say.
wild.
Like McDonald's is the wild. And like these things I'm like, oh, I think I could go to therapy for that kind of thing, because you know like these are little things that just for you signal danger or signal
Yeah,
there's a
yeah,
problem with you and you need some help, but you don't, like little things like that. But I
yeah.
don't talk about that to anyone because I don't like, sometimes I just forget, but sometimes I'm just like, yeah, no one's gonna like, someone's gonna mock me for that. Like if I get like an anxiety attack in a McDonald's, I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's what happens. Like
Yeah, it's hard for people to understand that obviously I've never been through it. And that was another thing actually that I was talking to someone about yesterday or the day before was some people, my best friend has never ever been to hospital. And that blows my mind. Like I just like you go, I've been so many times and it's such a part of my life is going to hospital that you kind of
Mhm.
just think that everyone does it. And then I realize like not really. It's like quite a lot of people that have never actually had to stay in hospital, never actually had a blood
Yeah.
test or anything. Like you said, it just becomes second nature to us.
Hmm. And also, I don't like like when people tell you, like even people from like the medical field, they're like, "Oh, wait, you're fine. Like you just have to do one blood test or one this." I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't know what that means because for me, maybe they're gonna try it 7 times
Yeah,
because they can get the thing. Like just there's just so many little things that go with it that only you're gonna know. So I feel
yeah,
like so having that medical journey, you get like such a good relationship with yourself because you know that you have to really calm yourself down about very specific things that no one is gonna understand
yeah,
better than yourself. I think that's kind of an advantage, but it's like an obligation. Yeah,
yeah. Coping mechanisms that we have to have to come up with just to get through.
exactly.
Uh,
Everyday life.
Yeah, it is everyday life. It is everyday life. Well, you're looking fantastic. You are absolutely bubbly and fun always, which is so inspiring. Like I know when we met, like we just got on straight away, and you was just
Yeah.
such a joy to hang around, and you're infectious in that sense. Like you're just a great character, and I've loved having you on. And we talked about maybe even doing some collabs on some t-shirts at some point, which would be really, really
Yes,
cool.
I'm a graphic designer.
Yes, yes, that'd be really cool. So we'll sort that out. We'll do
That
something.
would be
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much, Alice. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.